What's going on, guys? It's Tony with Urban Girl Scout Media. We are here and doing another quick episode of Living the Dream. I didn't want to wait. We're actually going to do a playoff prediction real quick. NBA playoffs are upon us, and if there's one thing you should know about us here at the media, it is that we love us some NBA playoffs. So I don't really want to waste too much time getting into the regular season because it doesn't matter at this point. We're going to talk about the playoffs. Let's start out East. First off, in the number one slot, or in the 1-8 matchup, we have the Milwaukee Bucks, the Detroit Pistons. A good divisional matchup. Detroit's a nice little story this year, but they will lose this series in 5. If that. I think Milwaukee has the potential to sweep them, but Blake Griffin is a good enough player where he could probably get you a victory. In the 4-5 matchup, we have the Boston Celtics and the Indiana Pacers. Unfortunately for Indiana, their season has been just pretty rough, if you ask me. With Oladipo out, that's a tough injury. The time frame could drag into next season, if I remember correctly. But they were able to scrap together a very impressive season without him. One of the more impressive teams after the All-Star break as well. Unfortunately, they're playing a Boston team that could show up and be championship level from the get-go. We don't know what to expect. I do expect Boston to make it past the first round. I'm taking Boston in 6. In the 3-6 matchup, we have the Philadelphia 76ers and we have the Brooklyn Nets. This is going to be one of the tougher rounds for me one of the tougher matchups for me to pick, because I actually think Brooklyn has a really good chance in this series, with Embiid possibly missing some time to start the series. And also, Philadelphia has a lot of talent, but they're not proven. That's not a team that's proven to be able to win. Not a lot of playoff wins under that team's belt. Jimmy Butler does a lot, but I don't know if he's going to do enough. So I will stick with the 76ers. However, if Brooklyn wins that first game, watch out. It's going to get tough. I'm going to go with Philadelphia in 7. I actually think Brooklyn has the ability to take them the full distance. In the final matchup in the East, we have Toronto versus Orlando. Orlando's a really nice story. They turned it around this season. They helped prevent the Miami Heat from making the playoffs. I don't see them winning more than a game in this series. Toronto in 5. Let's go out west. We have the Golden State Warriors against the LA Clippers. Golden State should be able to take care of this series. I am predicting a sweep. Wouldn't be surprised if it goes to 5 games, because the Clippers have done everything this season based on hard work and based on just being a team. The chemistry factor. So I expect them to give Golden State a couple of good games. I do not expect the Warriors to blow them out every series or every game, but I do expect Golden State to 4 or 5 games at the most. In the 4-5 matchup out west, we have Houston and we have Utah. So tough series here. This is definitely going 7. I think in this kind of setup, you look at what's going to get you there in the playoffs. Is it going to be, sorry, I got my list here of what I wanted to cover. Is it going to be superstars, or is it going to be a team-based atmosphere? How good are those superstars versus how good is that team? The chemistry, what's going to happen here, there, all that stuff. So that all comes into the playoffs. Then you talk about the half-court and full-court offense. In this one, though, I have to go with Houston in 7. So comes to the next series. The 3-6 matchup, we get Portland, we get Oklahoma City, we get Dame, we get Westbrook. Gonna be a good series. If Portland hadn't lost their center to that pretty gruesome leg injury just like a month ago, I think, excuse me, just about a month ago, I would actually say they have a shot to win this series, but because he's not there, I think Oklahoma City, who most of the season has been one of the better teams in the Western Conference and in the league, they just kind of, the end of the season wasn't their friend. Paul George has been a finals or a MVP candidate really almost all season, but Giannis and Harden obviously took over at the end there. We come up to the last first round matchup, and that is going to be the Denver Nuggets and the San Antonio Spurs. I'm going to start this with Denver winning it in 6. I think that they will win it in 6, if not 5. But if San Antonio can take game 1, much like Brooklyn and Philadelphia, if the underseeded team can take game 1, that series changes completely because of their opponents and what they have. So I'm just going to shoot through the rest of this real quick. So we would have Milwaukee and Boston. We would have Toronto and Philly. We would have Golden State and Houston. And then we would have Oklahoma City and Denver. So just ripping through them, I think Milwaukee takes care of Boston. I don't see a world where Boston can get it together well enough to get past what Milwaukee's capable of doing. Milwaukee's been one of the best defensive teams in the NBA all season. I think they make it to the conference finals. I will give Boston 6 games. I think that's how long it's going to take. Toronto and Philadelphia, I don't think Toronto's going to have much trouble. I will look forward very much to seeing Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard going toe-to-toe. But I think that it's going to be Toronto in 6 games. Houston and Golden State, the rematch, I feel like this year's different. I don't feel like it's the same game or same teams or same setup. It just doesn't feel the same as last year. It could be because Houston struggled so much this year. It could be because Golden State's had some ups and downs. I don't know, but I do believe the Golden State will be woke, if you will. And by that point, they're going to come out and they're going to play really, really good basketball. I think Golden State takes it in 6. I don't know if it could even go that far. I think that you're going to wake a sleeping giant in the first round, and they're just going to turn it on. Something that people maybe don't realize is that Golden State does have that ability at this point where I think they can turn that switch on at this point. It'll be interesting to see, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And then that brings us to Oklahoma City and Denver. Denver's a team that, as I look at their roster, I don't recognize many of those names outside of their star center, Jokic, the Joker. I have a very hard time looking at Denver and thinking that they can beat Westbrook and Paul George. That's a 1-2 punch that all season has just been feared. And if you watch the pundits, if you will, they've talked a lot about how Oklahoma City is a real deal team. So I'm actually going to give Oklahoma City the nod here and say they're going to take it in 7, and they will meet up with the Warriors in the conference finals. So let's jump back over to the East. I'm actually going to go with the Milwaukee Bucks and I'm still at this moment still stuck on it, but I think it's going to be a 7-game series. I'm going with Milwaukee because they have home court. But if Toronto won, I wouldn't be surprised because they have Kawhi Leonard. They have a very experienced team as compared to Milwaukee. So I could even justify here because it's my own show, jumping over to Toronto. But I do think that Milwaukee will take it Game 7 at home. Back over to the West, I don't think Golden State is going to see a Game 7 in their march to the finals. I think that this is going to be another one where they may get to Game 6. It will be fun to see Westbrook and Durant go at it, but the Warriors will make it to the NBA Finals yet again after a hard-fought 6-game series against the Thunder. And then in the finals, we will have the Milwaukee Bucks and the Golden State Warriors go to a crisp... I'm going to go 6 games. I'm going to say that the winner will win that series in 6 games. And this year's NBA champion will be the Golden State Warriors. Shocker, right? There's no way to really pick against them. Sorry. They're a loaded team when you look at their big 4 plus Boogie. And I imagine by that point we're going to see some monster games out of Boogie because of the way that the playoffs slow down. So I'm very intrigued by how this is going to turn out. For Milwaukee, I think it's going to be a good season. You could say the same thing if Toronto makes it too. I think it's going to be a good year, a redemption year based on some of the things that happened last year and some of the things that you want to happen this year. More so for Toronto on that redemption. But I do believe that Golden State will win a championship this year. Whichever one of those two teams makes it out of the East, you have to be proud. I think they'll win 2 games for sure. I actually think that no matter what, Golden State will lose a game at home. in the finals. Doesn't matter who they play, Milwaukee or Toronto. I think that either one of those two teams could do it. What it really comes down to is when it comes to Milwaukee and Toronto, whichever team's healthier, I think will have the actual advantage. If both teams are fully healthy or relatively in the same state, I think it goes to the team that has home court in Game 7. I typically like those teams. And then when you look at the finals, Milwaukee would have the home court, but I don't think that it would matter with Milwaukee or with Toronto against the Warriors. I think it's just going to be a matter of skill. Toronto would be the team I'd be more scared of against the Warriors because of the way that they play and because of Kawhi Leonard's experience. But I don't think that Toronto can get past Milwaukee. So, either way, I think Warriors take down another championship this year. What do you guys think? Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully it's a good playoffs. Looking forward to quite a few of those matchups. Definitely get in on it this weekend. Follow the Facebook page and tell us what you ended up doing for the games. I always like to hear what people do about their food situations as well, so if you cook up anything good, let us know. Thanks, guys.